One match, one whistle, one nation that refuses to accept the scoreboard. Egypt have officially filed a complaint with FIFA following their 3-2 defeat to Argentina in the round of 16 at the 2026 World Cup. And this is not a press conference grumble, this is not a manager venting into a microphone, this is a formal stamped submitted document sitting on a desk in Zurich right now. And in the modern history of this tournament, a knockout stage complaint of this scale, from a nation of this size, against a champion of that stature, is something we simply have not seen. FIFA's worst nightmare has a name now. And if you think this is just about one disallowed goal, you have no idea what has been quietly building behind the scenes for the last 72 hours. Let me take you back to the pitch. MetLife Stadium, New Jersey, round of 16. Argentina, the defending champions, the Messi-less but still terrifying blue and white machine, against Egypt, the Pharaohs, back in the knockouts for the first time in nearly a century. The stadium is a wall of noise. Egyptian flags in one end, Argentine drums in the other. And a neutral middle that came expecting a coronation and got a war. The final score reads 3-2 to Argentina. Julian Alvarez with a brace. Mohamed Salah with a stunning free kick in the 71st minute that briefly, gloriously made the world believe. And then, in the 88th minute, an Egyptian equalizer ruled out. In the 90th, a penalty appeal waved away. In the 4th minute of stoppage time, Argentina break, Argentina score, Argentina survive. Here is the twist of the knife. The Egyptian captain, on the way off the pitch, stopped in front of the 4th official, said nothing, and just held up 3 fingers. 3 decisions. 3 moments. He did not need to speak. The image has been retweeted 40 million times. He said afterwards, and I'm quoting him directly, "We did not lose to Argentina tonight. We lost to a screen in a room we cannot see." Now, on the surface, this looks like every other tournament exit. A big nation beats a smaller one. The smaller one cries foul. The world moves on. But the second you look behind the curtain at what Egypt have actually submitted to FIFA, the picture completely changes. Start with the disallowed goal. 88th minute, corner from the right, Omar Marmush rises above 2 Argentine defenders and buries a header. The stadium erupts. The Egyptian bench floods the touchline. And then, 90 seconds pass. 90 seconds of VAR silence. When the decision comes, it is offside, not against the scorer. Against a player 30 yards away, on the far post, who never touched the ball, never obstructed a defender, never moved into a goalkeeper's line of sight. The lines drawn on the broadcast graphic have since been analyzed by 3 separate broadcast partners, and each has publicly stated the calibration appears inconsistent with the reference frame used earlier in the same match. Read that carefully because it is extraordinary. Different rules. Same match. Then there is the penalty. 90th minute, Mohamed Salah cuts inside the box, is clipped from behind by an Argentine center back, goes down. The on-field referee waves play on. VAR checks. VAR clears. No review at the monitor. And here is the detail that Egypt have specifically flagged in their complaint. Earlier in the same tournament, in the group stage, a near-identical contact was reviewed on screen and given as a spot kick. Egypt's federation has attached the timestamps. They have attached the camera angles. They have attached the referee identities. This is not a tantrum. This is a dossier. And then there is the third layer. And this is where it gets uglier. The refereeing appointment itself. Egypt's complaint reportedly raises concerns about the composition of the VAR team, citing what the Egyptian Football Association describes as a clear absence of neutrality standards in the assignment protocol for a knockout fixture of this magnitude. Now think about that. A national federation, on the record, in writing, is telling FIFA that the people watching the screens should not have been watching this screen. That is not a complaint about a call. That is a complaint about the system. Their statement, released in Cairo at 2 a.m. local time, said this, and I am quoting directly, "The Egyptian Football Association cannot in good conscience accept the outcome of a match in which the technological safeguards designed to protect fairness were, in our view, applied selectively and inconsistently. We are formally requesting a full disciplinary review." A full disciplinary review. Sit with that phrase. Egypt are not asking for a replay. They know that will never happen. They are asking for the officials to be investigated. They are asking for the process to be audited. They are in effect asking FIFA to admit that a round of 16 match at its own World Cup was not officiated to the standard the tournament promises. And FIFA's response so far? A single paragraph statement, 62 words, acknowledging receipt, promising the matter will be reviewed through appropriate internal channels. No timeline, no named panel, no public commitment. If you do not know the look of institution trying to make a story go away, you know it now. Here's where the historical context matters, because this is not happening in a vacuum. In the entire history of the World Cup, formal federation-level complaints of this specific kind, filed after a knockout defeat citing VAR conduct rather than a single refereeing error, can be counted on one hand. South Korea in 2002, Mexico briefly in 2010, and now Egypt in 2026. But there is a difference. Those earlier complaints were largely rhetorical. Egypt's is procedural. It cites specific FIFA regulations, specifically the officiating protocols introduced for this tournament, and it demands they be measured against the footage. Fivefold. That is the increase in formal officiating-related federation complaints across this World Cup compared with 2022. Fivefold in a single cycle. FIFA introduced enhanced semi-automated offside for 2026 and promised it would end these arguments forever. Instead, the arguments have multiplied. Brick after brick after brick, this tournament has stacked officiating controversy on officiating controversy, and Egypt is simply the loudest brick in the wall. Until now, no African nation had ever filed a formal disciplinary complaint against FIFA following a knockout round elimination. Egypt is the first. The problem for FIFA is what happens next, because this story does not end when the plane leaves New Jersey. Argentina now face France in the quarterfinal, and every single decision in that match is going to be watched through the lens of what happened on Tuesday night. Every offside line, every penalty shout, every VAR delay. The credibility of the entire back half of this tournament is now dependent on officiating that the world no longer trusts. And over the next 6 weeks, if a single controversial call goes Argentina's way again, this complaint stops being an Egyptian story and becomes a global one. There is also the political layer, because CAF, the Confederation of African Football, has now publicly backed Egypt's right to seek a review. That is not a small statement. That is 54 member nations lining up behind one complaint. FIFA can dismiss Egypt. FIFA cannot easily dismiss a continent. Let me be fair for a second, because this channel does not deal in fantasy. It is entirely possible that when FIFA reviews the footage, every single decision on Tuesday night stands up. It is possible the offside was correct to the millimeter. It is possible Salah's contact was insufficient. It is possible the VAR team acted exactly by the book. Refereeing at this level is brutal, split-second work, and hindsight has a way of making every call look sinister. That is a real possibility, and it deserves to be said out loud. But that is exactly what makes this a nightmare instead of a footnote. Because even if FIFA clears the officials, even if the report comes back spotless, the perception damage is already done. The captain's 3 fingers are already a meme. The 40 million retweets are already in the world. The Egyptian statement is already translated into 30 languages. You cannot unfile a complaint. You cannot unsee a graphic. You cannot unhear a coach say the words "we lost" to a screen in a room we cannot see. This is what FIFA never wanted. A World Cup on home soil for 3 nations. A broadcast reaching 5 billion people. A technological system sold as the final answer to human error. And here we are, in the round of 16, with a federation formally accusing the governing body of failing its own tournament. Brick after brick after brick. The equalizer that was not. The penalty that was not. The neutrality that was not. 3 decisions. 3 fingers. 1 complaint. When you have spent an entire tournament promising fairness through technology, and a nation of 110 million people submits a document saying the technology was applied selectively, you do not get to hide behind a 62-word statement. Now, I want to hear from you. Was Egypt right to file this complaint and force FIFA to answer? Or is this just a proud federation refusing to accept a legitimate defeat by a better side? Drop your verdict in the comments, because I am reading every single one on this story. Subscribe, because we are barely 2 weeks into this World Cup and the officiating scandals are already piling up faster than the goals. Trust me, this will not be the last complaint. It will not be the last dossier. It will not be the last captain holding up fingers at a fourth official. The Pharaohs went home. The complaint did not. And somewhere in Zurich, a very expensive machine is being asked a very simple question. I'll see you in the next one.